Okay, so today we're going to be talking about how the why of eating trumps the what. And this is honestly my favorite subject to discuss nowadays, because over the years of being a trainer, I have certainly seen that it doesn't matter one bit of difference if I give you an eating program to follow if you don't know why you're eating in the first place. So I want to spend a little bit more time discussing this, because if you don't understand this and if you don't get this, then again, it's kind of a moot point. And I mean, you can go for seasons of eating healthy and changing your body and, jumping on the train, off the train. But what I want for you is for you to stick with it forever, for the rest of your life. Okay, so let's talk about number one is how to identify our dysregulated emotions surrounding eating. So this is hard to do. It takes some time, it takes some practice, but I'm going to start with telling you a story of my own on how I notice when my emotions arise and how I try to solve those emotional feelings with food, how I try to squelch it with food. So for years I've been on Instagram and I've been following my daughter. It was kind of a rule with our children that if you want an Instagram account or Facebook account, we need to follow you and see what you're doing. And so that was fine when they were younger. At some point, I think around the age of 16, my son decided that he wasn't going to have an Instagram account anymore. So he ended it, and then he started a new one without me. But that didn't really bother me too much. And it wasn't until this last year that my daughter basically blocked me from following her. So she wants to have a little independence. She wants to have a little privacy. And as an adult looking at that, for the age that she's at, I feel like that's probably the right time for her to be able to do that. We've monitored her for years. She's trustworthy. There's no reason why we shouldn't trust her. And so having this little bit of independence was a good idea, in theory. Well, the day that I noticed that I wasn't on her Instagram account any longer, I got fully hurt. I felt so sad. I felt like I wasn't being a good enough mom, and why wouldn't she want me on her account? I thought we were friends. I thought, and I wasn't even, stalking her and commenting. I didn't comment on any pictures. I didn't do anything like that. So I thought I was kind of being quite benign about it all, but regardless, she wanted independence. So when I saw that, again, I felt sad and hurt, but I didn't realize it in the moment until I went to the cupboard to grab a chocolate bar. I actually bought the kids some chocolate for Christmas, and it was being stored in the cupboard, one of those big Toblerones. And I sat there with it, and I know all this, right? So I know that when emotions arise, I could medicate with chocolate or medicate with some food in order to avoid feeling those feelings. So I went to the cupboard, I grabbed the Toblerone bar, and I sat there and I looked at it. And I knew I was feeling sad, I was feeling inadequate, I was feeling less than, and all those feelings for me feel awful. I don't want to feel those. I hate those feelings. It kind of takes me back and reminds me of parts of my past where I did feel those things, and I felt the need to be perfect and the need to be always on and the need to be the best. And I just didn't want to feel those things. So I knew that in the moment of consuming the chocolate in my mouth, it would have a sweet, euphoric taste. And in that moment, I wouldn't feel inadequate. And that's what I wanted. I didn't want to feel inadequate. I didn't want to feel like less than. So I opened the chocolate bar and started to eat it. But all this time, I know why I'm doing it. I know that I'm eating so that I don't feel inadequate. And so often we do that, right? We know exactly that we shouldn't go to food. We're feeling sad. We're feeling lonely. We're feeling rejected. Any of those feelings can arise in our life, and for so many things. And they're all like triggers from something that's happened in our past or memories that we've had. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that on that lizard brain and how we react and how it doesn't have a timestamp. It kind of just feels like it did back then. So even though I'm recognizing what I'm doing, I don't care in the moment, and I still eat the chocolate. But it's not till sort of after the chocolate's consumed and then you feel a bit guilty that you've done it, that you can step back and recognize, okay, what did I just do? I felt inadequate because the story that I told myself was that I wasn't a good mom. The story that I told myself was that she doesn't want to be connected with me. But that's not true, because it wasn't even an hour later that she came running downstairs, had no idea that I knew that she had deleted me from Instagram. And in 5 minutes, we are ensued in a full chase around the kitchen island, laughing, screaming, having a lot of fun. And I recognize, obviously, she loves me. Obviously, she wants me in her life. It's just this independence that she wanted. So I think part of identifying our dysregulated emotions is checking yourself out. Okay, so when you go to food, when you overeat, when you're not even hungry, when you reach for something, when you're already full but you still need something, it's a feeling of neediness, that's the best way to describe it. I need. So if you have those feelings around food, I want you to stop and begin to identify why you're going there. What's going on? Take a little check inside yourself and ask yourself that. Okay, what's going on inside of me right now? How am I feeling? What is the story that I'm telling myself? And chances are it's going to relate to something that's just transpired in your day, some interaction that you've had, an email that you've read, something that you saw, even something that you smelled or remembered can be triggers for us to feel these dysregulated emotions. And then just be conscious of that. Just be aware, be mindful of what's going on in the moment and how you want to move towards food. And then secondly, what you want to do is try and do something else in those moments. I had a client the other day say to me, she had read a thread of emails that were quite disturbing, and she went right to her chocolate drawer in her house, to which I said, you have a chocolate drawer? A drawer? Get rid of the drawer. And she said, I sat there with a Cadbury chocolate bar looking at it. And then I told myself, okay, put it down. If in 10 minutes you still want this, you can go back for it. But right now, let's put it down and figure out what we are feeling and how I can deal with it in a healthy way. So lots of things that you can do, lots of strategies that you can create in order to deal with those emotions. So that's my second point here, is to create strategies that will help you move through those emotions. So a few strategies can be having a bath. So getting out of the environment that you're in that moment. So if you have a chocolate drawer, move away from the drawer and go upstairs, go into a different room in the house, go outside for a walk. Try to disassociate yourself from that environment right in the moment. Get out of the kitchen and think about what it is that you're feeling and the story that you're telling yourself. Secondly, reframe that story. Is it true? For me, it wasn't true that my daughter didn't want to be a part of my life anymore. Obviously, that's not true. But the story that I was telling myself convinced me that it was true. So it's looking at the story that we tell ourselves and asking yourself, on what level is this true, or why am I making this up? Why is this story here right now? And the third thing you can do is really actually own those emotions. Like, be with them. Feel inadequate, feel sad, feel lonely, feel desperate, feel rejected. And just notice the feelings. It's not going to last forever. It's not going to be there forever. Maybe you have a journal or something that you want to write it down in. Or maybe you just need to cry or scream or laugh or feel the feelings instead of eating the feelings away. Okay? So I definitely want you to practice that this week and to be mindful of the moments where those feelings arise. All right, that's it for today. So I want you to go move daily in your recognition of these feelings in your life and try your best to just be compassionate to yourself when you have them and create a strategy where you don't sabotage your own health.